Action! What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, men and women of all ages? We are live once again, and today we're going to be talking about some straps. Let me get some lighting in here. There we go, some natural sunlight on half my face. What are you going to do? I'm in the vehicle, as you guys can see. That's where we're going to do this live. And this time I wanted to talk about some strap options. Actually, that'd be annoying for me. Sorry for the lighting. 2025 is upon us, so I want to talk about straps, right? I talked about straps towards the end of the year because that's a thing, and because I'm going to be slowing down on what I'm putting into the collection, I might mess around with some straps. In fact, I know I will. We are going to downsize the collection in 2025 just a tad bit, and I want to also put some straps on board. I want to more specifically focus on the organization of straps, right? I don't have a crazy system. Actually, my system of straps right now is kind of weak. So I want to put this out for anybody doing the replay. Comment or hit me up on Watch Crunch. Send me the way that you guys like to organize your straps. That's something that I'm interested in doing moving forward on a very, very clean, organized way. I haven't meddled in what's out there. I kind of have like a pouch right now, and I have some separate drawers for my straps, but I want to organize them in the size of fitting and match them up to the straps a little bit easier. I have some straps that I got to get rid of. And moving forward, I think I'm going to focus more on quality straps. Let me see if I can get a little closer. Yeah, I want to move forward and get a little bit more quality straps in my collection. Now that I've done some collaborations with some fantastic companies that we're going to mention here today, I want to have a nice organization to them. And I also want to start getting more premium straps, right? Because what I have found with my collaborations is that you don't have to get straps that break the break the bank. Montreux strap is something that I've mentioned a couple times. We watched somebody do an unboxing. You guys might know his name, of the first Montreux strap, and he loved it after putting it on his glycine. And that's actually one of the straps that we're going to be showing here today. So what is on the wrist is the question, eh? Swatch, the moon swatch on the Montreux strap, game changer. I'm a big advocate. The way that I found this out was Ted from Montreux Strap, the owner. He actually has the same Mission to Pluto, and he has this white strap on here, and it's got that winter kind of vibe. I got another watch in here that I'm going to show you guys that also has a winter type of vibe. But a game changer. And how is that so? Well, because we know that the plastic on here, the bioceramic, or I think they're calling it, or bioplastic, whatever it is, it feels cheap. It feels very light on wrist. This was a hype watch. What are you gonna do? Sometimes I put hype watches in my collection too. I get caught up in hype, man. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of watches. I'm not like that so much now. I'm still impressionable watching other reviewers and what watches are coming out. But at the same time, hype isn't going to get me as much as it did in the past. But I had quite the adventure getting this watch. I told that story a couple of times, and it was a lot of fun going to the city, taking my chances. And they actually had it in stock. They just got the shipment of it. Who knows, right? They just got the shipment, you know what I mean? But it was fun, man. I went to the city on a whim with the wife, went to the Swatch store down there, was able to grab me a Mission to Pluto. Didn't like the strap that was on there too much. It was cool. But when I saw Montreux put this white strap on his Pluto, I had to see what the fuss was about. It looks super clean. I didn't know the quality of it just yet, but I will tell you this, guys, and this is on theme and on par for the conversation that we're having today, which is going to be straps, because I know a lot of people in 25 are going to be downsizing. They're going to be doing more of a focused collection, especially those who've been collecting for some years now. So that's a thing. And I want to really organize my straps in my collection. I really want to focus on some straps, because straps can change the dynamic to your watches. And I'm going to show you guys, I got a couple of watches with me here today, and I want to show you some examples of that. And this would be the first one on this Montreux versus the, I almost said SKX. On this Montreux Mission to Pluto swatch, moon swatch, if you will. And then on the other wrist, because we're double wristing, that's another thing that I'm going to do more so in 2025, because because at this point I have 50 watches in my watch collection, maybe 50 plus. So the only way that we could circulate them, we could warm them up, if you will, is if we double wrist. And I love double wristing. I take a break from it. I do it when I feel inspired to do so. I do it because it makes me happy. If you don't like to double wrist watches and look like a lunatic, I get it, but I'm a nerd. I don't mind if I get the crazy looks. I've not had anybody randomly in the street come up and ask me, but people who know me definitely ask, and they do a little chuckle, and I don't mind. But this is not exactly a strap change. This is the AE 1300 Casio Royale, and I completely nerded out with this one, guys. The modifications on here, you're probably not going to guess what the inspiration was. And I actually was having a conversation with this with Mike from Christopher Ward. If you didn't see the post from Chris Ward, they do a lot of posts on Instagram. He actually posted a Christmas tree with the Predator on there. So I hit him up on a message. I said, hey, I actually did a Casio mod to match the Predator's wrist computer. You want to see it? And Mike was like, yeah, I want to see that. So the colorways on this watch mod was inspired by the Predator's wrist computer, right? You have the colorways of the yellow, the red. The red is probably something that you guys will recognize more so, because on the original Predator, when he's doing the countdown and it's like beep, 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 and Arnold's looking at it like, this doesn't sound too good. So that's what that reminded me of, and I had to achieve a red display for that to kind of like match that kind of theme, and I was able to do that. Now the yellow, we're gonna get real nerdy right now. The yellow on the wrist computer of the Predator is his cloaking device, right? So the colorway's all on par. The red is obviously the countdown. That's always going on his wrist computer. And then he has some blue colorway on that. I forget what the blue was for. One of which is for when he does the aiming, and the other one is for the cloaking. I may have mixed the colors up, but that's what the inspiration was. And this was achieved by the Skxmod Complete. And they're a fantastic, now I wouldn't call them a strap. I would call them more of a modification place to go. But if you have AE 1300s, AE 1200s, and I think it's the 1600s, they also have leather straps and FKM straps. I also have another mod that you guys seen before that was gold tone, and super buttery on the rubber strap. The leather strap is nice and thick. It isn't as supple coming out. It takes some time to break in, but once you do, you're good. So I had a lot of fun pulling this module apart, doing the different colorways, achieving a negative display. I could have did positive for here to make it easier to read, but at the same time, the blue color wouldn't have come out as much. It would have just been on the numbers itself. So I decided to go full-fledged and do a full steel type of build on it. This is sandblasted to give it kind of that rugged look that Predator has. So super nerdy. We're nerding out today, and I got a couple other straps for you. And for those of you that are tuning in, welcome in. Good morning. Again, in the beginning of the live, what I want from you guys, if you don't mind, if you have a really neat way of keeping track of your straps, hit me up, send me a message on Watch Crunch or my Instagram. It's the same thing as my name. And let me know what your super clean way of organizing your straps are. I'm very interested to know that, because moving forward, I'd like to clean up my act in that department. So okay, so if we're gonna stay on par with that AE 1200 or 1300, I forget which one it is, to be honest with you. I think it's the 1300. We've got this classic G-Shock, which is a DW 5600. Now this is, I did a whole video on this. This is a super easy way for you to step into modifications. The one I showed before is a little bit, or a lot bit more involved when it comes to changing out the actual polarized film in it. So that takes a little bit more effort. You don't have to do that. You could leave it the way it is, and you could just get their cases. Game changer on the SKX cases, guys. When you go from this kind of a modification, when you're changing out the whole shroud, if you will, or the whole outer case and everything, the buttons are butter smooth on this. It feels a lot more heftier. Now, you're going to put an investment of money into this for a very affordable watch, so that's that as well. But if you do something like this was an AliExpress special. I believe they had like a large range on there. You could just put, you know, the DW 5600 and look for something. Now everything came with this, including the casing for it and the strap to match. Super easy. You don't have to open up the module. You could give it some color, you could give it some life. This is a classic square. As you guys know, this is the battery version. This is not the solar powered version. But another way to enjoy strapping up and changing out the colors for your watch, and easy, very easy to do, if you will. You know who got kids when they go live. I don't have kids, brother. To be honest with you, I like the car vibe, to be honest with you, more so than doing it outside or doing it in a home. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because in my daytime job, I am doing a lot of driving. I'm a sales rep by my profession, so I have a territory that I have to cover all over New York, which is why I'm familiar with everything of Staten Island, Brooklyn, Queens. I cover Long Island, I cover Westchester, I cover a large range. So I'm super comfortable in the car. Everything is set up. It's kind of like my mobile office. So that's why I do the lives on here, DK. No kids, not yet, but hopefully soon. Braden, good morning. Good morning. DK's in the building, as we know, right on. He approves of the car situation. So super easy way to enjoy your watches in your collection in 2025. If you are, in fact, looking to slow down the buying process, this was super cheap on AliExpress. I think it was sub $20. It is, and it does feel cheap. And that also is part of the conversation that I want to have with you guys. I no longer want to get straps from AliExpress. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, I would advise you to do so early on just to get a feel and graduate into something a little bit more premium if you want to stretch your dollar a little bit more. And if you're brand new to watch collecting and you don't have any other straps and you want to put more of a volume type of game in there, and they're going to last a little while. But most of the straps that I got from there did fall apart. They're not for longevity, and I rotate my watches a lot. I have a lot of watches in my collection, so that's something to say towards the quality that's on there. If I'm not wristing that strap every single day, that means that that strap is not really lasting and giving that longevity. So versus AliExpress, where you're gonna pay anywhere from, I would say, 20 to maybe 40, maybe $50 the most, depending on what it is. For example, this G-Shock also has a titanium on their AliExpress that I am actually, matter of fact, I'm lying, because I'm gonna get the titanium case for this. It was one of my gifts that I asked for Christmas. That's another little gem for you guys. If you are early on, well, how do I put watches in my watch collection? Utilize birthdays, utilize Christmas, utilize all of those things where you're gonna receive gifts, and just send them the link to what you want. That's all I'm saying. But on AliExpress, they have a titanium for this, and it's really, really cool. It's very tactical. I will be receiving that for Christmas. I sent the link for what I want, so that'll be probably the last of the Mohegan of what I get from AliExpress, because I see the value in going for stuff a little bit more premium, like the Montreux strap, a little bit premium, like the do-it-yourself. Where's that watch? The do-it-yourself watch club. And they actually, now that we're speaking about them, they just came out with a watch kit for the Seiko Tuna. I just saw a video on their design ulterior, something like that. I'm terrible with names. But he actually did an unboxing of the Seiko Tuna, and they have those kind of watch kits. You guys see me talk about Nomoki mods, so there's options out there, and chances are, even with Nomoki mods and do-it-yourself watch club, they have straps that you can purchase as well. Let me turn off the heat. For you guys just to keep the watch the way it is if you don't want to do a full kit like this, so you don't have to go crazy. And they're considered to be a step above the strap game when it comes to the quality of straps. You really can hope for a better kind of deal for that. Jay, what's going on? Jay also did that, bro. Okay, copy that. Straps. So yesterday I talked about the F91W. I have that on with me. I actually did put a strap on the most, is that the most affordable watch? I think it's the most affordable, iconic, reliable watch that you can invest in, right? And I love covering everything from super affordable all the way up to your more luxurious type of watch. F91 Dubs, I think this is the master watch for travel when you want to stay low key, when you don't want to worry about, looking over your shoulder and being in certain parts that you're not familiar with. I did invest in a leather strap for it, and the leather strap for it actually cost, I think it's like maybe 3 times as much. I think this was $30. This was from Vario. Um, Excellent, excellent, excellent quality, super thin, quick release. I think it makes it look more handsome for such a low-key watch. Now, you know the strap, the resin strap that comes with it is not going to last a hell of a long time, so I thought it was worth the investment. I'm a nut. I'll go ahead and invest in a $20 watch for a 100 and plus kit. I'll invest a $30 strap on a $10 watch. What is this, $10, $15? I don't know. But I think it's worth it. This was like a birth year. And we did some modifications to this as well. I did a video on that kind of process. I did also a negative blue display. I wanted it to have its own kind of identity for it. I did look to see if anybody has any cases for it. Now, Do It Yourself Watch Club has one for the model above it. It eludes me what the model is, but it's not transferable to it. It would be kind of cool to put this in the middle, but at the same time, not really. It kind of takes away from its originality, so I've kind of let that go, and I'm okay with it. Now, we all know the backlight on it is super weak sauce, but in a very dark setting, it's going to do the job. So no matter how many reviews you see on this F91W saying, oh, the backlight is weak, it is weak. But when you're in super dark conditions and you really need it to come through, you will be able to read it. So that's not too much of an issue. One of my personal Casio goats is the G-Shock MTG M90 M900, usually around $80 to $90 on my given wall. Yeah, man, when you talk about G-Shock, when you talk about there's a lot of different options there, and you can't really go wrong. That's why a lot of people advise to go G-Shock when you're starting your watch collection, because somewhere along the line, no matter how expensive you like to collect, you're gonna want a gym watch, you're gonna want a beater watch, you're gonna want something that's just low-key, something that's affordable. So there are tons of options that people go with. I kind of just pick my lot. I kind of just go with whatever. And what was romantic about the F91W is that it's a birth year watch. It was birthed in '89. That's my birth year. And that was a thing. That was a theme, just like anything else. When we talk about beaters, dresses, pilots, divers, and everything of the sorts, you eventually get to maybe vintage, but then you get to a birth year watch. And I thought it was super cool that it ended up being one for me and being such an affordable rate. And I didn't mind putting some money into it, getting the polarized film and getting the strap for it, making it cool, low key, and something that I like to enjoy. So we're halfway through, I think. No, we're like a quarter. Oh yeah, baby. Let's ramp things up. um, so with the collaborations that I did, I'm an advocate for Montreux strap. I don't need to tell you guys that anymore. I do think that everybody should experience that strap. He also came out with a leather strap that we did a review for. It was fantastic. It was on par. You know, I was very honest about how I think it could improve. I was still impressed. The colorway matched my San Martin. I unfortunately did not bring that one with me. But with the collaborations that I've done, Zero Pass was another one early on. As you guys know, Max from Watch Crunch had a long night where he just couldn't sleep, and he came up with a strap that is like the NATO strap. It is not the NATO strap. Maybe we should call it an N strap, like how they call the other ones an O strap. And I don't know. I just don't want to. I don't want to get that letter in the mail. The Zero Pass, right? So having that NATO look and having zero material underneath it. Now this strap will negate and mitigate and cancel out and not work as a NATO strap is supposed to perform, which is giving you extra security if you have a lug, what is it called? Lug failure? No, not a lug failure. You're a lug failure. A spring bar failure, right? That's not going to do it. And a lot of people, right away. And it's like, my man, I've never had a spring bar failure to this point. I think it happened to me one time on a metal strap because I didn't put the spring bar into the hole correctly. So I personally haven't had that issue. And if you're worried about that, you should be changing out your spring bars regularly, especially if you're wristing a watch very often. What happens is that spring bar starts to get dirt, it starts to get grime, and it may not perform the way it should. It may rust. So If you're going for a zero pass from the Anachronist shop, that's not going to do it for you. But what it will do for you is give you the look, and it has a different way of doing an install. It's a lovely strap. I absolutely was in love with the leather, especially. That's why I'm showcasing this watch. And as a matter of fact, I haven't wristed this watch in a while, and it's kind of cold, and I got to warm it up. So I'm glad I have it out here. Maybe I'll put it on wrist after. We got the Seagull movement in here for the, what is it, 1953 watch, I believe. Now, this is not from C-Gold. This is from AliExpress, Ali/Express. And I was okay with the homage version. It still has the Seagull movement in it. And if you guys don't know this by now, Seagull is changing things up a little bit. Their movements are going to be less accessible for companies. I don't know if that was the right move of putting a minimum requirement of ordering 10,000 units of this movement. Maybe I don't know what the deal is with that, but what I can say is that we may see some companies using less of this movement. So if you've been dancing with the idea of getting this beautiful, beautiful chrono mechanical watch, then you might want to pull the trigger sooner than later. I don't know how that's going to affect all of the stores, but I would imagine that it will have an effect. But my point is this. The Zero Pass strap is something that I do like and I do wear. I have it on a couple of watches. I do mess around with it, and I thought it was a fantastic idea, so I have it on this. This was the most pliable strap out of the bunch for what they have. They also have straps for people who have thick lugs in it. The Panerai, the Tudor of the like, and whatever other watch that you have fixed lugs on. So if you want to check it out, go to the Anachronist shop and check them on their straps. Just, again, be advised, it's not going to work like a NATO strap. It's going to look like a NATO strap, but the point of it all is for you to have zero material and still enjoy that beautiful movement underneath your watch whenever you want to take a peek. I picked up the Red Star version of the 1963. What did I say? I said 53. Really nice. What's not to like about the mechanical chronograph for under 200? Exactly, exactly. And this was an AliExpress. This was like a homage to the actual C-Gold. I think it was yeah, it was still under $200. I love it. I'm fine with it. I've held an actual watch from Seagull. I personally don't see much of a difference. I don't know if their quality in the ST movement is a little bit better. I think it was a little bit heavier. But I couldn't find anything to really offset it. Now, a lot of these watches, when they first came out, they came out with acrylic crystals. That is not the case anymore. This one is actually a sapphire. They had two different options. So this is actually a sapphire crystal on here, so I don't have to worry about the scratches. I don't really care. Acrylic doesn't scare me. I got polywatch on deck, so if it comes to it, like on my Vostoks, and I get a nick on here, no problem. I'll just polywatch it out and call it a day. So check that out, guys. If you're interested, I did a review on it. It did get a lot of popularity for that video. It got a little bit of disdain because people were just straight up putting it against an actual NATO strap. But, you know, it is what it is. I go by it, and I do endorse it. Now, on the subject of straps, one of the things that I've come across with it is, and we're speaking more in terms of AliExpress, right? And this is the reason why this is a very good example of why I'm no longer going to source my straps from AliExpress anymore. I do want to get rid of some of the cheaper straps. It's starting to act just like my collection acts, where, you know, some of the watches that are less desirable now because they were more intriguing to me in the beginning of my watch collecting, maybe I have to move on from, but just like that with the straps, it's the same deal. I have some straps that aren't functioning the same way from other quality straps. Oh, you know what? I didn't bring another watch that I wanted to really show you guys. Damn it, man. It's all right. So that's the reason why I'm leaning more towards better quality straps. Still could be affordable. Vario's a great source. Anachronist shop is another one. Montreux is another one I did. And I want to do more collaborations with straps moving forward. I think that is going to be the focus from the beginning half of the year leading into October, where I'm going to save buying watches for the watch shows, as I told you guys. In the meantime, I'm going to make sure that every watch has at least 2 to 3 options. That's a way to keep things funky fresh and not to get tired of your watches. And sometimes it can salvage a watch completely from leaving your collection, believe it or not. So that is how important straps can be for your watch collection. That's why I am heavily interested in having a nice organized fashion for my watches, get rid of the ones that are just junk and clean it up. And again, if any of you watching this has a super clean and super organized way where you have a lot of space where you can put your straps in and know where everything is, let me know what your system is, because I want to copy and paste that to my collection. Mr. Monk, hello, sir. Michael, good morning. Let me catch up. I'd love to own a Bertani watch, but their permanent spring bar make it a no buy for me. So you're talking about a fixed spring bar. There are straps for that, Michael. If you really love the watch, there are a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot of companies, but there are some options out there. Maybe what you're telling me is no matter what, it's not going to work for you because of the straps that you already own aren't going to be transferable. I understand that. However, if you really love a watch, and I was actually thinking about this. Thank you for bringing that up, Michael. If I really love a watch and it doesn't have a strap to the watch that I really like, I'm still going to purchase the watch. Now, is that the same deal for a bracelet? That one has to be into some kind of consideration, because if it only has a bracelet option and that's bringing the price up maybe $200 to $300, you never know where that's going to fit into the watch itself. And I don't want to risk that with that bracelet. That may be a reason for me to say and consider the investment into the watch. However, on the other foot, if a watch has a strap to it that I don't like, because there's so many options out there with straps, that's a different thing. And where I am in my collecting and how many straps I own makes a difference in that opinion and in that consideration, because I know that I have a lot of straps ready and willing to make it happen for me. Now, a fixed lug is not something that I have in my, do I have a fixed lug? No, the block watch that I did had a fixed lug, but that was for my wife. I don't have any watches that have fixed lugs, so it's not good to speak out of experience, but that would be my only advice to you, Michael, is check out the Zero Pass strap from Anachronist. They also have, like I said, stuff for fixed lugs, and they may be able to remedy for that if you do, in fact, really love that watch. Yellow Red Bulls used to be my ish. I had to give them up. I was drinking 4 of them a day. Enjoy it for me. Yeah, man. So I always liked the regular Red Bull. Somebody had put me onto the yellow one, and I was super locked in. Now, I don't, believe it or not, I don't drink a lot of Red Bulls. I do that. I kind of do that now just to like have fun. I did it one time on a live. People had some laughs with it, so I'm like, why not? If I'm in the mood, I'm in the mood, and I'll do it. Gives you wings. Another super big example when we're talking about quality of strap. We are going to get into the subject of Bund straps, right? You can't cheap out on a Bund strap. If you go to AliExpress and you get a Bund strap, the leather on there is going to be very, very tough. It's going to be very hard. It's not going to be pliable. That's a lot of material to not have flexibility. So that has been a problem for me. And I bought like 2 to 3 from 3 different companies on AliExpress, and they all were kind of the same. Some were a little bit better with the Bund strap, but none of them were pliable enough for me to actually want to enjoy for a long time. I think I've kept them on the watches for like a couple of months, and then it just got old. Plus, you know, when it's not pliable leather and it's that much material, of course, it's going to make it wonky on your wrist. You can do things to break down a watch, a leather strap. I have put them in the dryer, treat them with different things to make it a little bit more pliable. But what's really nice is when it's already pliable enough to fit around your wrist outside of the box, because then you know as you wear it, it's just going to get softer from there and makes it more comfortable. Now, Vario, once again, is another company that I heavily recommend for straps. You guys saw my watch strap yesterday for the custom watch that I built. You saw the F91W leather strap that we have on here. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is a Bund strap from Vario. And it's very, very pliable, very, very soft, has a nice feel to it even. Just completely comfortable. And I have this on my Watch Crunch inspired Milk House build that I did for the community and for myself. And I was surprised by myself to go for this strap, for this watch, to be honest with you, because When I originally built this, I did a PVD coated Jubilee, which I thought was very different, but it is very different because normally when we go for, okay, here we go. Normally when we go for a J-style bracelet, not a Jubilee, we're going for the combination of brushing and polishing on that strap bracelet, and it looks nice, right? And that, you guys know, that's my favorite kind of bracelet. And I actually swapped out that PVD coated Jubilee, which did have a nice clasp at the bottom and everything else. If you see my other videos, you know what I'm talking about. And I put it on this Bund strap, which is super soft from Vario. It has a little bit of firmness to it. I'm not going to say it's as soft as an FKM, right? But for leather, yeah. Yeah, this is the way to go. It's already getting a little aged. It's getting a little bit light tone to it, but it's not breaking at the seams at all where I strap it together. So that's very nice. It's good quality stitching. Yeah, I love the smell of leather. So I would definitely recommend a Bund strap from Vario. Now, I'm not saying he's the only one that's making a nice one. It's the only one that I've really experienced, which, going back to moving forward, maybe collaborating with some more companies. I know that there is a bunch of names out there that you guys would recommend. I would like to collaborate with guys who do nice, robust clasp to their leather straps, anything outside of a bracelet, right? And go that route. Now, I didn't bring the other watch. Let me catch up on the chat. Let me move some watches here. And let me see what you guys talking about. You know what I'm talking about? All right. Thoughts on Artem. Artem was another name, Monk. Monk is the source, bro. Monk, I'm going to get back to that comment. I just want to make sure I'm good. Noctua, JP is in the building. JP is in the building. Good morning, sir. Thoughts on Artem. From a bird's eye view, because I've never touched and felt their straps, I have to say that I was impressed. And going into some of the, I believe they have like the chunky clasp too for their leather straps and for their rubber straps. I will contact Artem and see if they're interested to do a collaboration and for me to do an actual deep dive review into their straps for sure, Monk. In my own opinion, I guess they are nice, but they are literally giving hundreds of dollars worth of reviewers to say that they were the best strap ever. In my experience, they are nice, but very pricey. And you know what, Monk? I kind of leave, I do put my 2 cents into pricing. When I did the block, there was a portion at the end where I said, this is where you parents are gonna get a little squeamish because their watches are for kids. And they are a little pricey, but here's the deal. I can't shop for other people's pockets. I obviously can have an opinion to relative pricing towards other straps. But at the end of the day, it depends on what you value into the strap yourself. Like, I know some people will say the Montreux strap is a little pricey, if you will. Again, that's up to the person at that point if they can afford it. What they really need to know is if it's a really good quality strap. Now, you said in here that they're giving hundreds of dollars worth to reviewers to say. So here's the deal, Monk. I don't care how many straps you give me. Or, you know, there's no way to buy my voice if I really feel a certain way on a strap or a watch for that matter. It's always going to be open and honest. I'm still going to let you know where you can improve. I treat it just how I treat with the reviews for watches. Now, if they're going on there and they're saying, oh, well, for the price and versus the quality, I kind of let you guys develop that, if you will. And I just can try to keep that separate and put my 2 cents into it a little bit. 100% Monk. There you go. I have a Bund pad / strap. I love it in the winter. Yes, it gets a bit sweaty in the warmer months. Exactly, Michael, and that's exactly what the Bund strap, if memory serves correctly, the Bund strap was designed for very cold climates, right? So you don't have that direct contact from the metal to your skin. So those people who are climbing mountains or whoever's in very, very cold weather, this is super clutch. This is super comfortable. You're not going to feel your watch at all. And if you want to, with this thicker piece, you could remove it and just use the leather strap. So it's a little versatile, but it's definitely going to be more of an advantage in colder climates. Obviously, with this much material, even a leather strap, sometimes they're uncomfortable for people. So for this that's going to be even more too warm, too much thermal retention on your wrist, if you will. So I definitely agree with you on that. They gave me about $1,000 in straps. Sheesh. So look, I'll reach out to Artem if they happen to be watching this. Here's the deal, and I said it before. I don't care how many straps you give me. I don't even care if you pay me to do the review. I'm not gonna get on here and lie about it. I'm not gonna get on here and construct my review even the way that you wanted to. That's happened to me already, guys. I've had somebody who I did a review, they told me how they thought I should have mentioned the watch or whatever it was in my review, and I was like, no, 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 no. That's not how it works. This here, it's my channel. So if you send me something, thank you. I'll send it back to you. If you don't like the review on how I spoke about it, here you go. Here's your watch. No problem. I'll send it back. I generally keep things in very good condition, so you could probably at least, or I'll send it to the next reviewer if you don't like my review. How's that? But at the end of the day, this is my channel. I'm going to say things the way I need to say things. And as far as taking gifts and taking money, all that stuff is going to get pulled into the channel to make things better for the quality, for you guys to enjoy more things that you see on here. It's not to be bought. I can't be bought because at the end of the day, this is not my bread and butter. This is not how I feed my family. It never will be. This is a very fun hobby, and the value for my authenticity is, you can't buy it. You can't buy it. Let's just put it that way. I don't know how we got into that, but yeah, man, if they operate in that way, cool. If they want to link up with me, cool. If not, cool. Because there's plenty more fish in the sea, just like there's plenty of other reviewers, you know? With that being said, I'm going to watch all those straps. LOL. Yeah, that's a lot of straps. Biting my tongue at the true feeling about Montreux. Don't bite your tongue, bro. I saw your review, and I'm okay. I love this. JP, I love the fact that you don't necessarily agree with the Montreux strap as much as I do. That's okay. If you feel differently, if you feel that the packaging could have been saved on cost to give the strap a little bit less, I know your points, baby. I watch your stuff. I can understand that, but at the same time, I'm kind of like the monkey in the middle, because I know, because I spoke with Ted, right, off camera, on camera, he's going after a target market of, let's say, rubber B, right? Not gonna compare the two. I've never touched a rubber B strap. I don't know how well they are, but the point is that he was going after that luxury feel, but for a more affordable rate, right? A rubber B is what, $200, $300, $400 for this strap. His is like $60, $50, whatever it may be. He runs sales, and now he's actually running promotions on getting a pack of his straps, right? But at the same time, if your mission statement is to go after the luxury brands, packaging is part of it. And you don't have to go crazy. It's a strap at the end of the day. But yeah, he definitely put some money into the packaging. There's a lot of branding on it. There is a luxurious feel to unboxing it. It gives a presentation to it. The strap is completely secured inside of it, if you will, like on a an actual like if you guys seen the Erebus watch roll that I had, it had the padding inside with the cutout of the watch. That's how it is for his straps. He wants you to feel like you're opening something premium. And I'm not defending him, right? I'm just bringing up another point. I completely respect your review. I completely respect your point. And I know that there's probably more to it. But at the same time, I'm just reporting both sides, and I'm looking at it with both eyes, if you will. Don't bite your tongue, though, bro. If you have something to say, man, talk. Speaketh thou truth, sire. I apparently don't own a mesh bracelet. Thank you, Michael. Man, you guys are really helping me remember stuff. Even though a few of my watches would look, the hairy arms won't allow it. Yeah, because it's going to be, okay, it's going to be pulling the hairs on your arm. I didn't bring the watch with me. I can't believe I didn't take it with me, because it's actually, so my BLP, I talked about it yesterday. I wanted to show you guys. Game-changing strap on a mesh. Speaking about mesh, Michael. For the longest time, I've always loved my BLP, and I won't lie to you guys, I was very impressionable when I got it. It was a hype type of thing, going on par with that, you know, that outer space watches, if you will. And A lot of people were talking about it at the time. BOP value, great accuracy, great watch. It was big and robust. I got a 7.25 inch wrist, so I'm not worried about big and robust. Uh, don't regret the watch at all, but didn't connect to it off jump. Now I didn't, and I believe that watch, I believe, I might be wrong, there was a version of it that was offered on a strap from Bulova. I didn't go with that because I wanted to save some coin at the time. I was trying to stick to a lot of affordability, and I regretted that because I became a bracelet guy, of course. What happened was I got the San Martin. The San Martin had a mesh bracelet to it with quick release diver extension, quick release at the lugs, and a diver extension, excuse me. And that was a game changer putting it on my BLP, on a mesh. Completely different watch. I'm talking about, it was like I bought the watch yesterday. And that's how important straps can be. It's how important straps can change things. I put on a bunch of different straps on my BLP, and we're talking about the standard BLP. We're not talking about the meteorite stuff that we see on other channels that are very nice and I'm jealous about. We're talking about the standard one, which I'm very happy with. But I never connect, and it might have even been eventually on the chopping block because it just wasn't getting warmed up. I just didn't get a feel for it. But after I put that on a mesh, and I will advocate for this, for that watch, if you have a mesh already, try changing it out onto that BLP, man. Game changer. Super flat on the mesh, very articulate, obviously, because the way it's designed. The San Martin bracelet, they just did it right. So having all those things, I think my San Martin is beat, man. I mean, I might be able to swap back and forth, but right now, that's where that strap lives. And I wish I would have brought it with me. I'll show it to you guys next time on the live. I do apologize. But if you are on the market for it, I said this before as well, Mark has straps specifically to the models that you pick out for the BOP if you want to go ahead and do that. I tried going to Bulova. I don't think Bulova has an option to purchase the strap separately, to be honest with you. Just trying to be polite, bro. Nah, man, I mean, listen, there's a difference between speaking your mind and not being polite. There's a completely different type of vibe for that. You can just, all you do is that before you say what you have to say, just say respectfully, in my own opinion. See, that negates everything. Good, bad, good. Maybe you want to end off on a good too. There's a difference between polite and being rude. Difference between being polite and speaking your mind. I don't get why the 43mm Lunar Pilot is on a bracelet. It has different lug hole options than the one on the NATO. Yeah, man, I don't get that myself. I believe I just got, like I said, the standard one, not just the packaging. That's way too much. But the company started with one strap model, but they have a very expensive office in Florida coastline. Okay. Yeah, so I can't speak to the Florida office, which what you're alluding to is the company's cost, right? What they have to secure the price to cover the overhead. That's a valid point. But do we know the situation of what that office was utilized prior? Was that purchased specifically for? And I'm playing devil's advocate, right? I'm not saying, you said something, so I have to defend him. I'm just saying there are things, this is how my mind works, because I've tried as a person as I got older to not judge and try to perhaps fill in blanks to make me understand a situation before I have my concrete mindset. Not saying that that's what you're doing either. What I can tell you is that I don't know what that office cost him. Maybe it was something that was necessary. I don't know if he's sharing it. I don't know if he had it prior. Who knows? But I can say that one of my critiques was the same thing, right? He only had specific sizes, one model, and I was like, you can't play it that safe if you're a strap company, in my opinion, because if people get fired up, like how I was fired up to mention the Montreux strap, and you have a watch in mind that's an 18mm, that's a 24mm, and you only have 20, and I think it was 20 and 22 that he had only. Is it a strap company though? Like, you need to be able to fit a lot of different size watches. So before moving on to, let's say, leather, which he already did, yes, I can agree respectfully in my own criticism to that point that different sizes, dimensions have to be offered to us in order for us to really feel like that is a strap company. So, I read that. You are paying their bills, not paying for straps. I understand that. I understand that. Respectfully. Yeah, nah, no doubt. No, you're right, bro. Um, yeah, that's all I'm saying. I don't know what the circumstances are to that office. I definitely can understand that point to cost and overhead. After that, the strap is half the thickness, which means half the material, which means less cost overall for the manufacturing. Absolutely. And that was one of the engineering things that was pointed out for the strap to be more comfortable, right? He's definitely saving money on it having less material. I think another point that you had is how long and how well is that strap going to hold up? Now, FKM is very resilient in general, not talking about Montreux only. It has all the benefits that you guys know of. Do I think that this strap is going to crack and fall apart? I don't think so. I don't wear mine enough. I would love, if we want to get down to the bottom of this, we got to link up with somebody that has a Montreux strap and puts it through the mill, take it to the gym, take it to this, take it to that, and see how long that strap actually holds up for. That's fair. I can say that having less of the material obviously makes it more pliable. But to your point, that also is, oh, Oscar, come on, baby. To your point, that is going to have less of a cost. So I think your biggest, listening to you and going back and forth, it's just cost for strap. You feel like the cost for strap should be less. Do you think that there are saving costs that we would have to have a conversation with, from the horse's mouth to fully understand? And then also the lack of material also going to the cost, and then the overhead. So listen, dude, I love it. I love it. And you're giving me more perspective for me to chew on and to really think about it. So no, listen, dude, if you have more, you have more, bro. I got no qualm with it at all. So that is on my wrist today with the swatch kind of setup. Now, Travis just got this strap. He put it with his glycine. I think he should also meddle with putting it with his, which one does he have? He has the red Mission 2, I don't know the name, but he also has a moon swatch. If he puts it on his moon swatch, I need somebody to also validate that on the moon swatch, especially with the bioceramic, bioplastic, bioceramic, plastic ceramic, whatever it is, it gives it more of a luxurious feel. And that's not only to the case of this watch, it can happen for that for many different watches. So straps are a thing. It's going to be a nice focus for me in 2025. Now, if you guys have a strap company that I haven't done a review, let me know who I should set my target on, who's making some really good straps for a really good price. JP, if you know somebody doing FKM of the like that is more towards what you feel it should be around in cost and stuff like that too, because I don't have that kind of education. I have AliExpress, and then I have the relationships that I've done this year for the straps that I have. So I'm sure that there is so many out there. I'm interested to see what the market looks like, what the design looks like for other people. I'm still going to be advocating for Montreux myself until I'm proven wrong on another company. But even still, it's just another option. That's the beauty of our market, to be fair game. And if you guys, like Monk mentioned, Artem straps, I'll knock on their door. I'll see what time it is. You know your boy can't be bought. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. We'll see if they're interested. Maybe they're not, after me telling them that no matter what, I'm gonna give the truth. Maybe that's not what they're going for. I hope not. I hope that that's not what's happening. But as JP said, they gave $1,000 worth of straps. I know you feel some type of way. I enjoyed the chit chat. You earned a subscription from me. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad that I earned your most valuable asset, which is time. We're not signing off. We got another, 20 minutes? No, a little less. We'll do an hour of power, Check Stra X Pro. I will check them out, bro. It's just, you know what to do. You know what to do. Hit me on that side. You got my phone number, actually, so just shoot me a text. Yeah, man, because I'm really interested to see. I feel like I know that I only scratch the surface when it comes to straps, because I've only done really, 3 or 4 different videos on that, and it's something that I would want to include. And going into, the direction of what I want to do. So here's the deal. One thing that you'll notice if you are an advocate of watching my lives, I showed my past lives, some love. We did do some thumbnails on there. I was realizing that I was getting lazy with the thumbnails for the lives. So we are jazzing it up a little bit. And everything on the point of me bringing it up is everything on my lives, as far as what's on the cover page, I'm either featuring that watch or featuring that topic. You'll see the thumbnail for this is a bunch of straps. We're talking about straps. So at the end of the day, that's what I want to do, to kind of like, okay, I know what Mr. Santana's talking about here. After he sips his Red Bull, maybe he goes on a tangent, but I know what he's trying to talk about. So I am organizing that for my lives. I am going to be not separating. So in the past, what I was doing with the watch builds, and again, I brought up Skxmod. They just came out with a JP. You'll be interested in this. They just came up with a tuna build. I might hit them up to see if they're interested, man. You know, I'm no stranger to putting a watch together. I'm curious to see, and I expect their watch material to be the watch material. I expect their parts to be of higher quality and for it to be a good build and everything else. But let's see if they're interested in me recording myself. Now, what I'm going to do, what I was doing is, if I did a mod video, that was the video for the week. I'm no longer going to do that. I know and understand that that's probably two separate minds. Not the case for everybody. Some people just like to consume it all. Some people only like to watch reviews from watches separately. So what I'll do is I'll have, hopefully, a watch in mind for a deep dive, and then for whatever I record, because the editing process is a little different when I'm doing a modification. It's not as difficult because I don't have to take B-roll. I'm just using the A-roll, then I'm talking over it, then I'm cutting out the when I break the second hand and I don't want to show you guys. I never did that. I've bent one before though. That's pretty much breaking, Skylar. But what I will do is, that'll be another video, just an additional video, and then hopefully we'll stay on track. The lives are a little bit more difficult. That's why my lives are so random. It's whenever I have free time. I happen to be on vacation, so I have a lot of time. So you guys are seeing a lot of lives from me, but that's not going to be the case when the season kicks up in the new year. I might have to slow down on some videos. I don't know. There's a lot to unpack, but I have a lot planned. I want to at least do 52 reviews, one per week for a watch review, and then we'll do as much as we can on top of that. Basically, I could have saved myself 20 minutes of talking, probably just saying that. You guys, I saw the Red Bull comments while I was talking, man. Hold on. Only my perspective, because I'm working with some, yeah, and that's the reason why I want you or anyone else, don't be afraid to go against the grain of what I'm talking about. Like, again, being respectful is a totally different thing. If you have a different feel, bring it to the table. Let's have a conversation. You may enlighten my perspective, and you have the perspective behind the scenes working with some parts and manufacturers now, so you have slightly different viewpoints, right? You're behind the scenes. You're seeing how much things are costing. You have your own watch company now, which is a fantastic watch. I like to plug it in every time I get a chance. Right now, I don't have it with me. It's with my photographer, my professional photographer, aka my sister. Beautiful pictures that she's taking. She's gonna get a little bit better. She has to learn little things about watches. It's my fault. I should have gave her some heads up on that. But she's also going to be helping me with some B-rolls, so that's also super exciting to include into the 2025 upvote people. I appreciate you, JP. Red Bull gives his tongue wings. Yeah, a mile a minute. Are your chit chats always in the car? It sounds a little odd, but it works. The sound quality is crazy good. I dig it. Thank you. Yeah, the acoustics is another thing, man. I did a live in a smaller room. There was a little bit more of an echo. I feel like the car, for some whatever reason, I guess it's all the material that's inside of here, and obviously, like, you know that the top is all lined, so that kind of acts as, I'd love to have a studio, man. It's not in the works for me right now. Somewhere down the line, I'm gonna have a complete setup, and I'm probably gonna do it there. But I'm always gonna do the car lives as well, man. It's a vibe. It's different. I could be as loud as I want, right? I don't have to worry about the neighbors. I don't have to worry about disturbing my wife, screaming and yelling when I'm doing these lives. So it's a different kind of vibe. So I'm always going to include, I think, the car type of setup. And I appreciate you for liking it as well, bro. I saw that Skxmod tuna. I want one. I want one too, man. I have not been able to get Skxmod to answer me on a collaboration. I did so very early on. Maybe I was just a little guy and it was just not within their benefit. I'll round back to them and see if they are interested. If you get, if you get your foot in the door, hook a boy up, say, hey, I know another guy too. If you're interested, I would love to touch and feel their watch parts. One per week is perfect for the YouTube algorithm. Yeah, dude, and it's also perfect for the Santana lifestyle algorithm as well, right? I can't, I could do more than them. I don't know if I could do more review videos with the same quality. Yeah, like if I just took a watch and I flipped the camera around and I held the watch, and as I was looking at it, I'm talking about it and I'm just doing some side profiles, I could crank out more. That is a style that's out there. I have chosen the style of doing B-roll, voiceover, scripting. It's a lot more difficult for me to just hit record like this. Believe it or not, on lives, I can talk a mile a minute, right? When I am doing a review and I have a lot of facts that I have to mention, it's I'm not the same guy. I'm like, this watch has 42 millimeter, no, 41 millimeter. It's not as, I mean, you guys see me do my notes too, man. I'm so much better freestyling when I don't have to just spit out a whole bunch of facts. So what I do is, again, I write a script, make sure fact checked everything, caliber up the watch, this, that, and the third, get a true impression of it, maybe wear the watch for like 2 weeks, at least a week, get a feel for all the design language. Because here's the deal, when you open up a watch and you first look at it, you can get a lot from it. But what happens when you put it on your wrist and you just spend more time with it, you start noticing things even from more of the trained eye that you didn't notice before. So I like to also spend some time with the watch to really gauge what I'm appreciating from it and what is really striking to me. Add that into the script along with the facts. Work on my inflections, work on my voice that I'm doing the voice record over, because I'm sure you can see my voice is up, down, left, right, you know, when I'm live, right? But when I'm reading a script, I also try to keep that flow with it, and I'm getting better with it. But my point was that I love doing the B-roll, matching it up. For me, it feels like art. For me, I enjoy that process. It does take longer. So I think that even if also I noticed if a watch video is fully finished, taking some time, a couple days off, you're too close to it at that point, taking some time off and going back to it and tweaking a transition here and there, or, oh, I didn't put this, or, oh, maybe I said this wrong. It matters, man. It matters. So that's something that I'm also factoring in when I say I'm going to do 52 review videos rather than 2 or 3 a week. Are there any trends you see gaining traction in 2025? I think there will be more watches like the Teledano and Shan. Man, you know so many watches, bro. Agro Natural. Dude, I need you to be my script writer, bro. I need you to just to give me the heads up on things, Thelonious. You need to give me the rundown. You need to give me the report when I come up on here, man. As far as trends go, I guess I have more of like a bird's eye view for what I think trends will be. I think it's going to be more like how it's been over the years. And what happens is that stuff like the Gotta Watch kind of bleed into the new year until things just mold into it. You know, like we had the integrated bracelets, we had a whole bunch of other different designs from the years past that going into 25, when the year transitioned over, they kind of stayed until just something kind of took wind of it. What I would like to see, because I don't think that I can really forecast a trend, because I've kind of been like, I'm now settling into a focus, right? Like I'm planting my flag on independent and micro brands now. So I'm going to have a lot of focus in 2025 to have a more educated response to that question. But what I can say is that I see a lot of trends bleed over. And what I would like to see as a trend for 2025 in the independent brand space is adding more value into the watches like we see with particular companies. And we've talked about it already, so I don't want to fire off names. But if we have to give an example, something like the Erebus, right? That's a perfect example. Why? Because they came out with the Ascent, and that's a Gotta watch. And that has all the specifications that a nerd would want to check off boxes. So if I had to say what trend I would like to see, it would be more in the specifics to the small quirks that nerds do enjoy and like to have in it. Do I know for sure that that's what's going to happen? Definitely not. And I don't know the behind the scenes like JP knows into what goes into that. Maybe we need to have a conversation as well. I like the Chronos. They're popular this day. Yeah, I've heard that name many, many times before, Chronos. So I definitely would love to see more about that as well. And I'm hoping we see more any 88 powered watches. Copy that. Prefer a freestyle from the hip review of a watch or watch product. Some reviewers over product their videos and live streams. What did you just say? It's not you, it's just the way I read. From the hip review of a watch or a watch product. Okay, copy. Some reviewers overproduce their videos. Got you. Yeah. So again, with my script writing, I do have some freestyle stuff that gets added in between. Um, it's still scripted, some of my freestyle, but in the moment of me writing the script and how I feel about the watch, I just add it in. And sometimes I don't say it word for word. I know what I mean. I know what I'm trying to say about a particular feel to a watch. So I don't try to keep it too robotic where it's like, here are the specifications, here is the bracelet, here is this, here is that. I do try to mix and mingle some of the things in there to keep it more of a freestyle. But what will happen with me is if I go for a total freestyle, some information is going to get lost in the mix. So that's the reason why. Noctua, at Noctua, I hope. Okay. I want to see companies that are not on Alex, use the Peacock 4801. Man, there's so many different movements and there's so many different aspects that could be added to the conversation. And I love hearing things that are a newer type of thing for me at least, because I feel like, what the information that I could provide to an independent brand to improve or to include, there's just 100 times more of an opinion of how we can improve those watches. So I love this stuff, man. And I love that the rabbit hole on information is endless. That's the part that I really love about this all. San Martin and Boltony are my current favorite micros. So Boltony is a company that I haven't experienced just yet. They were on Santa's list for one of the gifts that I get. I will have a hands-on for that. I got the one that's like a cushion size case with the crown on the top. And I am interested to see what their quality is. I Like Watches has a lot of reviews on Boltony, and when he does his close-ups, he's very good. He's very thorough. You're able to see a lot of the specifics to them that make them value. So San Martin and Boltony are high up there in the mass-produced watches of quality, and I am actually on par with you, Michael, on that. Wristful Ignorance is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. He is looking to do a live with a state of the collection. So hopefully you're still on theme to do that, my friend, and I am excited to see that. Even though the 4801 is kind of a clone movement, I don't think that there is a thinner auto chronograph movement that comes anywhere near in its price. That's okay. Got you. And I definitely want to look into that, because now what we were talking about earlier with the ST movement on the chrono, now did you say that that's an automatic chrono? No, movement. No, I don't. Oh, you said auto chrono. Yeah. What's the cost on that, Thelonious? On the movement alone, is it up there? Is it sub $200? I wonder. It's got to be up there, actually. Automatic chronograph. What am I talking about? I'm looking for a chrono case that I like that I can use for an NE88. Yeah, so that NE88, that's Seiko's chrono, isn't it? I believe that movement. Yeah, man, that'll be fire. I actually have to do some more homework on that NE88, because that's a thing, and we're gonna see that a lot with the chronograph movement being mechanical itself, with that minimum requirement of 10,000. I think people are gonna be reaching for different options. I'm curious. I got to get down the price, the cost, the effectiveness, and everything else. Now, if I'm right and it's by Seiko, then we can expect it to be a decently moving mechanical movement, if you will, chrono. So interested to know more about that too. Maybe it's the year of the chronograph, right? Maybe the God is going to go away and it's going to be the year of the chronograph. For reference, the 4801 movement is the Sega's. Okay, Daytona, how much? Got you. My man giving me references. Random Rob is in the building. I enjoyed your video on the road, my friend. I was like, where's that camera that he has right now? Because I'm getting the first person shooter type of, I can't even say that on here. I'm getting the first person driver experience. Yeah, man, 65 on those roads. I was like, I had anxiety watching that video, bro, because I'm in New York and I'm like, I couldn't do 65 on the road that you did. I'll just say that. Those super affordable brands are hard to beat, but I never connected with them. There's a lot of people that don't connect to them, bro, because at the end of the day, I had a whole segment yesterday talking about that, and there are tolerances that are not tolerable for a watch collector of our caliber or somebody who has expectations. And you should have expectations. They should be higher at this point in stage of the game because, you know, again, I hate to beat a dead horse, but Erebus just entering into the atmosphere with their affordability now, 400 versus, or 500 for the Aventurine, 400 for the others versus a $100 watch. We're talking about something different. I understand, but you talk about San Martin. I think that their quality control is outrageous. I don't know, Rob, if you've featured any San Martins. I'm pretty sure you have at this point. But anybody else of the like, they're out there, bro. There are brands, and Michael was talking about this earlier with Boltony. I think Boltony is another one. Chrono was another one. There are companies out there that would surprise you, I think. And again, I talked about homage watches and I talked about a lot more affordable watches and how they fit in the market and how they are a separate category, yeah? We're not gonna go ahead and put up against a well-established independent brand, or even you can't put an Erebus up against any of the mass-produced stuff either, right? Because not only does Erebus tend to check off more boxes, not so much versus a San Martin, but a San Martin is not a $100 watch either anymore, right? They sometimes run deals and you could maybe get a, I don't know, you can maybe get a Rolex Clomage, what is it? Oh my goodness. Submariner. Submariner. I need more Red Bull. You can get a Rolex Submariner, and they sometimes have deals where you're closer to 100 and change, but at the end of the day, most of their watches are 200 plus, which pushes it closer to that category of affordability in the independent brands. Again, with Erebus, they checked off a lot of boxes with their Ascent, and was super impressed by that. I'm sure you guys were too. Chronos is in AliExpress, makes good watches as well. Yeah, I believe Chronos was brought up before. I've only heard good things about them. I'm okay with connecting with more of the affordable brands moving forward and featuring them because I know that there are people that are probably going to tune in that are in the beginning stages of collecting. And here's the deal, because I remember very candidly when I started off, I didn't even know mechanical watches existed 6 years ago, okay? So do I want that person now entering in? And everybody else is a little different, but I felt more comfortable playing with an NH35, when to change the date, winding it, setting it, this and that. I felt more comfortable playing with a $100 watch and possibly screwing that up and then graduating very quickly once I felt very comfortable, and maybe I never messed up the date, maybe it didn't take me that much time, but it allows me to enter into the market with the design features that I want. The movement is is robust enough to be okay with it. And it's training wheels, right? It's training wheels. How many times have I built watches for people that I love? Again, they are where I started with mechanical watches, and they are not comfortable with setting the time still, or they don't get it yet. So there is that type of thing, even screwing down the crown, bro. You know how many times I've gotten my watches back from somebody I built it? They're like, oh, hey, Skylar, whatever, I got to change something out, and the crown is out. And I'm like, you didn't even push in. No, they pushed in the crown, but they didn't screw it down, right? So there's little things that we, as more advanced collectors, don't even think about, where it could have such an advantage for a new collector to play around with, also the accessibility and the affordability. But is that going to tickle my fancy? No. And I'm noticing that too, Rob. I'm noticing that those watches are impressing me less, even though I still can factor in the value of those watches and watching them also graduate and finishing. We can't even talk about finishing anymore with all these mass-produced watches, because I think that the finishing level is just, it's just like, yeah, we know the finishing is good. Like at this point, who is doing a bad finishing? Nobody's doing, I'm not going to say nobody, but there's so many people doing good finishing, even on a mass-produced watch. There's so many people having a watch that's not going to fall apart, because I think that that's the biggest misconception between getting a homage watch, clomage watch, whatever. Oh, it's $100. It's probably a watch that's going to fall apart. It's not. So it's a different conversation. But now, when we talk about having a lot of watches and experiencing watches that give a lot of value in specifications and give a lot of value in checking off a lot of boxes, yes, those watches now become less impressive to us. I get it. That's how you take the long way home. I think you're right, Monk. The 4801 is an auto. I think it's cheaper than the NE88. So JP, take a look at that. But more expensive than the ST19. I think you're right. And all of those watches, relatively speaking, are a crazy high cost. Are there minimums? There's different things that JP has to look at. Being a brand new micro brand, there are minimums for that. Christopher Ward is supposed to be releasing a 12 chrono at some point in the future. Fire. I have to link up with Christopher Ward. They're one of the names on the list. 1401 is like $200 retail on AliExpress. I imagine it's cheaper in bulk. That is a very fair number for a chronograph. Also fairer is revamping their chronos in 2025. I will keep my eyes on that failure rate. Yes, failure rate on the Seagull is horrible. It is horrible. That is a thing that is known. Now, somebody like Studio Underdog, who's redesigning some of the movements and obviously probably have a better quality control. Because see, the problem with the ST movement is that it's outsourced a lot. It has approval to be made by a lot of manufacturers. So yes, depending on, it all comes down to the manufacturer, right? I don't care where you are or what you're making or what's a clone of what movement. If the manufacturer that it's coming from is crap, it's going to be crap. So at the end of the day, when you give blessings to other manufacturers to make your movement C-goal, then you're going to get quality control issues depending from watch to watch. And even I think that even also goes towards their movements also in general too. A lot of moving parts on that though. Whenever San Martin decides to go all in on the Miyota 9 series, the original designs, the next stop will be the moon. Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that. Miyota 9 or Monk, how do you feel about the movement that I brought up yesterday? What was it? PT5000. How do you feel about the PT5000 clone of the ETA? There are the same people that had to go to the mall to get their photo jailbreak instead of downloading the program themselves and watching a 5-minute video by the 16 years old. Solid point. They are excellent choice to learn how to own a mechanical watch. Absolutely, Rob. And that is why I always feel like that category of watch, because here's the deal too. Also adding to that point, there are people that just don't want to have the money to spend. They don't, how do I want to say this? They do want to have a collection. They do want to be a collector, but they're okay with staying with that homage or clomage type of deal. They only want their watches to be that. And I don't want to write off somebody because they can't or don't want to graduate from that position. They're a collector just as much as any of us, whether I have a $2,000 watch or they have a $100 watch. I still want to have a conversation with them. I still respect them as a collector. I still think that they have something to contribute. It doesn't mean that they don't consume watch content and they don't have something to add. In fact, you may be able to learn something new. Not just you. I'm talking about me. I'm talking about us. Somebody who only collects homage, clomage, they're going to have their finger on the pulse when it comes to that, right? They're going to have different iterations, variations. I've seen people collect only Duros. I want to talk to that guy when I want to go buy a Duro, right? Because he has only Duros, right? And I might say to myself, I'd never collect like that. But that person is a different warrior in the army of watch collecting and has their own specialty that they can add to the conversation, is what I'm saying. But thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for agreeing on the point. I do agree with super affordable watches from AliExpress. Open up the world to watches and collecting to people who may have thought about a mechanical watch. Yeah, man, perfect transitional watch. I think if you got an Apple Watch, and I've been part of that too, I went from an Apple Watch to the mechanical world and to having collecting. Now that Apple Watch hasn't been charged for maybe a year's time now, but talking about Segway watches, talking about the jump off point, not only for people who haven't had the experience at all from an Apple Watch, but from having that transitional watch and super affordable. I mean, listen, we've talked about many of positive things that have come from homage watches, and I always offer the advice for you guys to, if you want to get into modding, you can deconstruct from a Tandorio, you can deconstruct from a Pagani design, because maybe spending $200 on a kit, $300 on a kit, and not feeling that confidence to put it all together, maybe you want to mess around with a couple pieces here and there. So they offered up and they opened up a good sick training wheel. Let's put it that way, sick training wheel. Agreed, Rob. They have a place always. Studio is one of the few that I can afford the 10K MOQ from the Seagull. Copy that. You want to see that movement much more. You won't see that movement much. No, you're not going to see the Seagull movement. You know what? I don't know how much it's going to impact them from making that 10,000 unit purchase. And listen, it's all relationships, right? Don't believe that it's going to be that kind of case for every single. I've been in big business before. I am in big business. I know how relationships work. Okay, if somebody was already buying, they may say, hey, you can't take 100 units anymore, right? But they may say, listen, for you 3,000, for you blah blah blah. So is it going to be like a complete snap in stopping? No. Is it going to slow down dramatically? Possibly, because all of those people that wanted to put an affordable movement of a chronograph hand wind into their watches now are going to be kind of boxed out of a new relationship moving forward. Noctua Watch Corp. I'm sure Seiko is making a pretty penny being the unofficial movement supplier of every new. Yeah, dude, 100%. And that's the biggest. You get a lot of people who get very strongly opinionated about getting a Seiko clone or like my Tandorio is a turtle, right? It's a titanium turtle. A lot of people are going to say, bro, instead of spending $100, save up a couple more hundred and get the actually from Seiko. But the thing is, that movement came from Seiko. You know what I mean? Like, they're making a killing. They're almost promoting that. Now, they don't want you to put Seiko on the dials anymore. From what I'm hearing from certain circles, they're coming after people who are putting Seiko on their dial and building a mod and selling it. So that's another thing. But as far as the movement goes, they're not cutting that blood supply off. No shot. And they're birthing these homage style things. You guys seen me do the Namoki mods. A lot of people gave me the comment of, oh, hey, why don't you just get a actual alpinist? Why are you advocating for building a kit for it? Well, here's the deal. The one that they have now is not like the original. Either case, the one that they are offering now is around $700. The original is like plus $1,000 now. Some people are ready to build a watch anyway. I always love the original one over the one that they have out now. There's a Cyclops. I could remove that. I understand. Maybe I don't want the text underneath. There's different reasons, man. There's several ways to skin a cat, and there's several reasons why somebody wants to do something. So my point is this. From that Namoki mod, which also gives good quality in casing and bracelet and everything else, they give good quality parts. Hands down. Anybody who's messed around with it, JP's in the building, so he'll let you know Namoki gives good parts. So now, if I'm taking that and I'm building it out of a Seiko movement, it's basically a Seiko, not really from the manufacturer, but they're providing the movement, so they're almost supporting their own homage to their watches. Because here's the deal, you're not going to stop homages either way, and there's so much money to be made selling your movements, birthing all of these brands. And you're not only seeing that with Tandorio, Namoki, whatever, you're seeing that with really established independent brands. Notice is one of them. Notice puts NH Movements. Matter of fact, they just came out with a pilot. Fantastic watch. And they're regulating that movement because they understand that probably, I didn't talk to them, but probably the biggest conversation for the NH movement is the tolerances for the plus minus, right? So what now you regulate that movement. I've gotten an NH movement. I said this before. I've gotten an NH movement from plus 1 second a day. It is possible. It's not hard. And if you mess it up, you can replace that movement affordably. That's never going to, I don't think that's ever going to stop, you know? Now, we also talked about the design fatigue for the movement itself. So maybe the PT 5000 is a step in the right direction to get a clone of an ETA Again, I haven't done a credible amount of homework to really plant my flag in saying that that's the answer, but I know for sure that we're going to see people try to graduate that movement eventually, and there's several ways to go about that. Not, I'm sure Seiko, the fact Seiko is really, man, this conversation, it started off in straps and ended up in movements. I love it. I think they're more focused on the LJP now, LJP 100 now, going for a higher end. Yes, that would make sense, and that's what I think that we're gonna see. Because listen, San Martin and Tandora are already doing PT 5000s. I don't know why that's not talked about more. It is talked about. Maybe I just, you know how you buy a blue car, you see blue cars. Now that I own a PT 5000, maybe I just didn't have my ear to the ground enough. But I had no idea what that movement was. I said, hold on, that's a clone of the ETA. What are we doing right now? And that watch, titanium, PT 5000, 28.8 beats, 4 hertz, has the same amount of power reserve, and the watch is not more expensive than the NH O-rings that they were giving. So what's going on? How many cars can we put in the same motor? And most people don't care what's under the hood. Yeah, I think most people don't care what's under the hood until their collection grows. I think once your collection grows, you're like, what else is out there? Why hasn't there been more options? What's going on? I think the questions naturally arise when your curiosity starts to peak, because after having so many NH movements, I wanted to see what a true traveler was. NH34 was another perfect example. That birthed so many watches. I think when we were talking about trends, we kind of skipped out on the GMT trend, right? That opened the doors, because prior to, you had to go to a Miyota, which led you into a double, triple digit, not times 3, times 2 on cost, depending on who it's coming from. Islander has a true traveler in his Port Jefferson that's around $500-600, so that's more like plus 2, times 2. So we saw the doors open for that, and I don't know. I feel like that movement was fine as well. It's a little bit more involved, right? Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, you still have to mine when you change the date. Versus the Miyota, you could have a field day, which what was a super strange feeling for me to change the date so freely, go backwards and forward, not worry where the time was. I hope that that's how it works. Now that I'm on camera talking about it, I'm sure that's how it works. It's a natural graduation of curiosity for not only design language, but also for the movements that are involved, that are offered out there. I had plenty of NH34s before I gained the Miyota 9075 this year from the Islander Port Jefferson ISL 245. And it winds a little differently. It sets differently, of course. You're using the GMT time for your home time. There's a significant amount of differences, but you're going to get the curiosity. And I was blessed enough to mess around with a Salida 200, which is the ETA-based clomage 2, which is also going back to the ST movement. Is it ST? PT 5000, excuse me. They're both clones from the same ETA. So what's the deal on that? Just saying. Ba-da-ba-ba. And most people don't care. Yeah. I mean, the new Land Cruiser. My mom had a... all right, we're good on chat. So yeah, guys, that's all that I had. We are over the hour tremendously. My bad. I apologize. I do appreciate you guys for hanging in there. This was a great conversation. Thank you for taking the time out. Thank you for spending your most valuable time. Thank you for spending your most valuable asset, which is time. Have a happy holidays if I don't see you again. I said this on my last live, but here we are again talking. I appreciate everybody for coming in. Spend some time with the family. Happy holidays for everybody that celebrates. I love you guys. This has been so much fun, and I'm excited about 2025, and I hope to see you in the next one.